Hey book friends, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about my March reading. You guys, it was such a good month. And mostly I think that's because I read two of my most anticipated books. Two of the books I'm just like obsessed with. Honestly, I'm obsessed with these books. I read some other books and they were good too, and we're going to talk about those as well. But let's get into my wrap up because I just want to gush about all the books I read in March. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back, all the things. So like I said, we are doing my March wrap up. I had such a weird reading month though, as I'm looking at my stack here, because as I mentioned in my last video, I think it was my TBR university video, we are moving. It's just made things a little bit crazy. And so I still read when I'm stressed because it's a stress reducer. It's a fun hobby. I just pick up really random books. And so you'll see that as we get going. So what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna start from my 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, because that's all I had. I didn't have any 2 stars or anything like that. But to enter in with my 3 stars, I only have 2 3 stars. This first one, I gave like a 3.25 because I liked a lot of it and then it kind of drug a bit and it was a little too YA for me. So the series or the book I'm talking about is These Broken Stars. This is by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. So this is an older, I think like 2013. Yes, 2013. It's a YA sci-fi book. I feel like it was one of those that was really popular and I was just curious about it. It had some tropes that I really like, but it didn't totally land for me. So what this book is about is it's about this girl here who is the daughter of this billionaire. He's like the owner of the biggest company in this solar system, basically. And so she is like this figure that's like untouchable. Like her face is known by everyone and her dad won't let anybody kind of near her. When I was reading her character, I honestly thought of like Taylor Swift, where everybody's up in her business and she just can't be left alone by like the paparazzi, if you will. Same, in space. And so then there's this other guy who's like a soldier. He's a decorated hero from some other things he did, but he doesn't really pay attention to the news, so he didn't know who she was, and that's rare for her. But then all that is set up pretty quickly right before this spaceship that they're on pretty much crash lands onto this planet, and they're together. So that happens all very early, so I can say that much. I feel like where this book fell off a little bit for me was the romance, and maybe I realized I don't love like rich girl, poor guy relationship, because it's obviously he's like the whole time thinking like I'm not good enough for her. Clearly she doesn't like think twice about me, and she's like, oh, he's like different than every other boy. You know, it's got this kind of, I don't know, not quite what I was looking for, but it had some clever ideas, which I like because I'm not a huge sci-fi reader. I want to get more into the genre. And so it did a few things that I thought were really clever, and they might be kind of common tropes in sci-fi. I just don't know that. And so I found the science aspect to be really, really interesting. So 3.25, it was still a good read. Am I going to continue with the series? No. It's a 3-book series, but I looked at the second one and it doesn't really follow this main couple. It kind of moves on. And I don't like when series do that. So I'm good with just kind of considering this to be done. I liked it, but I'm not continuing in any way, shape, or form. So, okay, the other book that is in the 3 stars, I gave it 3.5, and that's Earth's End by Elise Kova. So this is book 3 in the Air Awakens series. I read books 1 and 2. Did I read them in February? Either February or January. But I've been reading this series on my Kindle and I've been really enjoying it. What happened is after book 2 ends in this just huge cliffhanger, and I had to pick up book 3, which is one thing about Kindle Unlimited that is very sneaky, is like I'm able to just grab that 3rd book and just kind of read the beginning part, which is what I did. And then I was able to read a lot of that book before I wasn't picking it up, or I had other things I really wanted to read. And so I put this book away, I think for a month, over a month maybe. And that's okay, because I did end up finishing it. So it is a series that's about our main character of Valhalla in this world of elemental magic. Not everybody has magic, just kind of this select group of people do. And she does not know that she has magic until it's brought out of her, basically, forced out of her. And she finds out that she has air magic, which is very rare, and there's a lot of history and backstory as to why this branch is so rare. And I feel like I've enjoyed the plotting of this book. It's a 5-book series. I'm going to continue on. I've liked how the characters have grown and developed. I've liked the romantic relationship. And I think actually that was it. In the third book, you know how sometimes in series, the main couple like becomes more established and then I lose interest, you know, which seems silly. Like I should be like, yay, they're together. I wanted them to be together for like 2 or 3 books. There's more to it than that. I feel like that's what hooked me back in, is when I finished the third book. I was like, oh, all right, we're gonna go that direction. I'm gonna keep reading it. So initially it was gonna be just like a 3-star because it lost a little bit of my interest and I was able to put it down for like a month, but it's 3.5 based on how it ended. And I did just pick up book 4 because I did the same thing. It ended in such a way that I wanted to know what was gonna happen next. So I finally finished Earth's End. So those are my 3 stars. Solid. I mean, they were enjoyable books. They're both YA, and on one hand I love YA. On another, there's aspects of YA that leave me wanting more, and I think in both of these stories, that's probably what I was feeling, especially these Broken Stars. Okay, moving on to 4 stars. All right, I finally finished Queen of Shadows. Now, this is a book that I started January 2024, and then I got maybe 70 pages and I just stopped reading it. There's a certain character in here who is just kind of a jerk at the beginning of this book. And he was annoying me to such a degree that I was like, I am not interested in this book. And I put it down and I didn't pick it back up until I picked it for my TBR game. And it forced me to pick it back up. And I'm really, really happy it did because, you guys, I'm going to move on. I think I'm gonna do the tandem read for the next 2. But let me start with what the series is about. This is Throne of Glass series. This is book 4 in the series, book 5 if you count the prequel. I loved book 3. I equally loved book 4. I gave this a 4-star. The first 2 books I gave 3 stars, and I've been giving them 4 stars since then. I've really enjoyed where our characters have come because what's happening in this book doesn't relate at all to the synopsis I'm going to give you on the first book, Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. It's progressed so far. But to give a quick synopsis of the world is we have our main character of Selena, who is a renowned assassin in this city, but due to his circumstances, she was in the pits, or this like slave labor camp, until the prince pulls her out to be his champion in this competition, to be the king's champion in that first book. We meet our main cast of characters. There's so much that goes on to set the stage. And those first 2 books are very much more in that YA sphere. This doesn't necessarily get more spicy, it just gets more complicated. The world building is so much bigger and there's so many different groups that have been added to this story that I love, like Manon Blackbeak. If you know, like I really enjoy her character. There's so many others that I really enjoy, but I read it, 4 stars. I'm continuing, like I said, I want to do the tandem read of the next 2 books, which are Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, because I heard they happen at the same time and it's more fun to read them at the same time, but they're just like huge books. So I'm not gonna tackle that in April. I'm gonna tackle that maybe in May. We'll see. All right, another book I gave 4 stars. And I think I might have given the first one 5 stars. I'll have to look back. But I read Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. So this is the 2nd book in the Crimson Moth duology. So it's wrapped up, which I did love the fact that this was a duology. I think this was a perfect pacing and amount of story that it felt fulfilling and not rushed in any way. But this is about our main character of Rune Winters, who at the beginning of the first book is in a situation. Basically, she has to give up her grandmother as a witch in order to protect her identity as a witch in this society that hunts witches, right? So this is a witch hunter storyline. Rune, though, is hiding in plain sight as this socialite who's kind of rich and flighty and all of these things, but secretly at night she acts as the Crimson Moth, which is a vigilante character to save and like ferry the witches to safety, basically. She's just that kind of a figure. She feels like she owes that after what she was forced to do with her grandmother. And so immediately I was very like drawn to Rune's character, and that stays pretty consistent throughout both books. There's also a main character of Gideon who's like the head witch hunter. He's like a captain of the guard or something like that. And for very good reasons, he is on that side hunting the witches. And we learn about both of those things. I love how both characters came into the story with a lot of preconceived notions and the other person helped them see what it would be like from the other side. Now, why this one didn't get a 5-star, I feel like it went back and forth. It was a lot of, oh, he betrayed me. Oh no, he's okay. Oh, he betrayed me. And he did the same thing where he's like, oh, she's fine. Oh no, she's not. Oh, Like, it went back and forth, and then their decisions and what happens, they can't trust each other, but it went on for too long for me. Like, it didn't quite make sense how they were both responding in this book. I liked it. I just feel like the road to getting there was a little bit not my favorite. I hope that wasn't too much information because that book recently came out and I was really anticipating it, and I'm glad I read it, but 4 stars, not 5. Okay, another 4-star book that I picked up kind of on a whim. Now, this is what I wanted my Kindle for, and I wanted Kindle Unlimited for, was the ability to pick up kind of random books, to be exposed to additional books, to be exposed to indie authors, different things like that. So I picked up The Wolf King by Lauren Palfreyman. Palfreyman? I'm not quite sure how to say that. I've never even heard of this author, but I saw it on a recommendation of like romantasy books, and I was drawn to a certain trope that I really do like in books. And so this is comped as like Outlander meets ACOTAR with a bit of like werewolves. And so, I don't know, I was just like, I wonder. So I picked it up, and I did enjoy that first part. Like, it hooked me. So it's about our main character, I have forgotten her name, but she's a princess in the southern kingdom of like the humans, and then the northern kingdom is like the werewolves, and they're at war, basically. So she's the princess. She has a terrible father who is marrying her off to a terrible, really sketchy dude who she has just like accepted her fate. She's like, I'm just like a pawn in this game, until she is forced to watch these like fights between these werewolves, which are kind of like sport, like almost gladiator sport. They've been captured and now they're going to fight each other, and she intervenes. It results in her being kidnapped by the wolves and taken up north. And so it starts there. But what's really fun and what drew me to this story is the love triangle-y kind of feel to it. I've realized I do like love triangles. They usually happen more in like YA books. This is not YA. This is an adult romantasy with spice for sure. I didn't feel like it was over the top, but I'm happy to just kind of read through it as long as I like the characters, which I did. I liked the characters. I liked our main character of Aurora. That's her name. Of Aurora and the wolf that kind of took her. I like that. And then there's an extra guy. And you know what I've learned about myself is like, why can't I just like the golden boy? Like, they're like, oh, he's really sweet, cinnamon roll, will do anything for her. Instead, I'm drawn to like the villain-esque character. He's like a little bit dark. He has a backstory. He whatever, you know? And so that's where I'm at. And I think the second book comes out really soon. So I might pick it up. It was just really fun. And I do love that kind of Scottish Outlander background, if you will. It's just fun. So I read The Wolf King. I know, like I said, I had a really random month, which I think is kind of fun. I don't always like having everything planned out. All right, the next thing I read was a 4.25 is what I gave it, is the next Richard Osman, not the next, the new series called We Solve Murders. Now, I read this as a part of my reading challenge over on Discord. It's really fun. We have a buddy read every month, and this was March's, and it was really enjoyable. It's about this woman who's a bodyguard, and she's tasked with protecting this kind of older Hollywood star, but she also has this really fun relationship with her father-in-law. So she's married, although her husband doesn't play a part in this too much, but she interacts with her father-in-law, whose name is, I already forgot, Steve. But then she gets herself in a bit of a jam. Like, it seems like she's being set up for all these murders. He used to be a police detective, but he doesn't really want to leave his small town at this point, but she's able to kind of coerce him into doing that. And it starts this whole like murder mystery investigation, globe-trotting sort of idea. What I loved, hands down, the characters. Richard Osman writes characters so well, especially like elderly characters, right? He's the author of the Thursday Murder Club series, and I loved all those characters. And now in this, we do have a couple older individuals, like her father-in-law, as well as this woman who she's guarding. I won't go more into that, but I just felt like they both had such great personalities and brought so much like fun to the story. Yeah, I loved it. It was really, really fun. So I read and finished that one, and I think it will become a series, which I will pick up. Okay, exiting 4 stars, entering my 5 stars for March, you guys. I read 3. 2 of them are going to be really obvious because I've been anticipating them for a while, but this other one was really fun. I read Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. Now, I read Serpent and the Wings of Night last year and I loved it. It was so good. Like, there's a reason people talk about that book so much. Then I read the sequel, like Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, and I didn't love it as much. But now I want to reread it. I'm like drawn to rereading it because of this story. And I was told I should read this and I just kind of ignored it because I usually am like, oh, it's just like a novella, like it's a 1.5, right? It would have helped because this is the story of our main character of Lilith, who is a human born in this city whose town has been cursed by the gods with an illness. And she's always been kind of sickly and she seeks out a vampire who has always lived there. He's kind of like kept to himself. He's a little reclusive. His name is Vale. Now, Vale is a main character in the next book, in the Ashes and Star-Cursed King guy. And I wish I would have read this story first because I really enjoyed his character. I really enjoyed their romance because this is a romance and it's such a short amount of time, but it isn't actually a short time. It covers like months and months and months because she makes a deal with him to try to cure her village, basically. And that plays out over a number of months that is more alluded to, not followed. You know what I mean? But it's not like they fall in love in 6 days, which I never can get behind. And so it took a while. The other thing that I really loved about this book was our main character of Lilith is older. She may be 30, something like that. And she's also like a scientist, which I really liked and I really enjoyed. And so 5 stars for such a small book. I was just like, I liked all of it. Like there wasn't anything that I can complain about. And now I just really want to reread that other book because I really do think I would love it more. So 5 star. Okay, now I don't know which one of these to talk about first. I have 2 favorites and like obsessive favorites, you guys. And I knew that was going to happen because they're second or third books in a series. In this case, it's the 3rd book. It's Oathbound by Tracy Deonn, the 3rd book in the Legend-Born Cycle series. This is about our main character of Bree. It's an Arthurian legend-esque story where she and her friend are like these high school students who are able to go to college early, whatever those programs are called. And she immediately stumbles upon this group of people who are kind of doing weird things and she's able to see it. It's kind of strange. And then she inserts herself into their world in order to solve maybe what happened to her mother, which she sees some loose connections with this group of people because her mom also went to UNC Chapel Hill and all this stuff. That's the basics. Where it goes in this book, I just loved. So now I know it's a 4-book series. And so book 1 really hooks a lot of people. It's just such a good story. I highly recommend Legend-Born. Book 2, Bloodmarked, was also really good. And then this takes it to the next level. So what I love about Bree is I love her character growth, her like magic growth. Because a lot of times what'll drive me nuts in YA fantasy is you'll go from this like clueless, naive girl who suddenly like, she's an assassin. She knows how to do all this stuff and she's amazing with her magic. It just kind of clicks. And I just like Bree. She feels a little bit more real. She kind of falls on her face a lot. She makes really bad decisions or she's just impulsive, but it's with a good heart, but it's impulsive. So it's not out of arrogance, it's out of like love for others, but she just puts herself in bad situations that other people have to like get her out of, if you will. But going into this book, some of our characters, especially in this little love triangle, because there's definitely a love triangle going on here, and I am partial to one of them over the other, and I won't say at this point because it feels like it could be a spoiler, but I'm still on that team. For sure. But the way this ended, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the 4th book, you guys. It's so good. It's so much fun. I'm excited for the 4th book because I'll just read all 3 of these books again and just get to be in this world with some of my favorite characters. And so if you haven't picked it up, Legend-Born is really fun, especially if you like YA fantasy, tough girl magic. It's just so fun. So fun. So 5 stars for sure. And then this one, I think, oh, I don't know if this is even more favorite, but I'm equally obsessed. And that's Rag Picker King by Cassandra Clare. So I read Swordcatcher in February, which I was really happy about because I knew this book was coming out and I really enjoyed Swordcatcher. I enjoyed the world. So now this is Cassandra Clare's first go into adult fantasy. It has nothing to do with her Shadowhunters world. She's like starting a whole new thing, which I love. And it's about our main characters of Kel and Prince Connor and Lynn. And so Kel at the beginning of Swordcatcher becomes Prince Connor's Swordcatcher. His is like his bodyguard, but it's more of a body double. Like he has to be with him everywhere. There's some special magic that almost makes it so he can replace him in certain functions, but they're friendship is like more than brothers, and I loved that. I love that about them. Now, it puts Kel in a bit of a tough spot because he's not truly royal. He's not truly the brother of the prince, right? But he has to sacrifice himself for him. And it puts him in some spots where maybe he needs to do some things without Prince Connor knowing about it. It's better for him to do it that way. It gets him in a little bit of a pickle, obviously. But then we have our main character of Lynn. And now Lynn is part of this Ashkari group of people who, in this world, are the only group who still have a bit of magic. Like there was this whole big event called the Sundering, which took magic from the entire world. Now she's a part of that group in Castellane, which is this main city. They are walled off into their own area. But Lynn is a very strong character. She wants to be a physician. She wants to help people. She uses those bits of magic and knowledge to help people, including Prince Connor and Kel, and she gets a little too entrenched into this world, even though her culture does not approve of that. They don't approve of being involved in like the Hill or the royals and all of these things. And so it gets her in a little trouble. And the story where it left off was so good, and the consequences that she has to walk through in this book. I loved the romance. I'm not even gonna say, because it's very slow burn. Like, don't go into these books thinking like romantasy. I mean, it gets there. It's just, I would call this fantasy forward romance secondary, but still a very strong part of the plot. Like, it's very involved. It makes a difference. And how this ended also, I just can't wait for the third book. I can't wait. So yes, 5 stars. 2 of my most anticipated books for the year I read in March, in the month they were released, and I just loved them. I loved them, you guys. So March was such a great month. Those books make it so that no matter what else I would have read, it would have been probably my favorite reading month of the year. You will definitely see those in my best of list at the end of 2025. But anyway, you guys, let me know. Let me know what you think of any of these books. Have you read them? Especially these. I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know. And if you can't think of anything necessarily you want to say, let's do a picture of a crown for King and an emoji down below if you just want to let me know you were here. Otherwise, let me know what has been some of your favorite books. Did you like these books? Let me know all the things. I love chatting with you guys in the comments. But that's all I have. So I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you in the next book video. All right, guys, take care. Bye.